Calculating limits with secant, cosecant, or cotan can sometimes be confusing, but the best thing to do is to just think in terms of sine, cosine, or tangent. So, for example, the limit as x goes to a half of x secant pi x is the same thing as asking for the limit as x goes to a half of x times 1 over the cosine of pi x. Now this part, that's easy. We could just plug a half in for that x. This part, on the other hand, presents a little bit of a problem, right? What if you plug in a half for the x? You would end up with cosine of pi over 2. And cosine of pi over 2 is 0. Remember what the cosine graph looks like. Let me put it up here for you. Here's the cosine graph. There's pi over 2. So the cosine of pi over 2 is 0. 1 over 0 is undefined. So this limit does not exist. Now, if I had asked you for a one-sided limit, the limit as x goes to a half from the left of x secant pi x, we would look at this graph here and we would see that coming from the left, we have a teeny tiny positive number. And so we have 1/2 times 1 over, I will put a little 0 positive in quotes, because we have kind of 1 over 0, but it's really a teeny tiny positive number, which is undefined, but it's undefined in a special way that we can describe. This is increasing without bound, so we can call this infinity, which is one special case of does not exist. And if I had asked for the limit as x goes to infinity, x goes to a half from the right of x secant pi x, then we'd look at our graph and we'd think about x approaching pi over 2 from the right. And again, we have 1/2 and a 1 over kind of a 0, but this time our 0 is like a negative teeny tiny number. And that is also a limit that does not exist, but in this case it's shooting off to negative infinity, so we can write negative infinity, which is another special case of does not exist. So for this problem, the limit as x approaches a half does not exist. The limit as x approaches a half from the left also does not exist, but it does not exist in a very special way called infinity. And the limit as x approaches a half from the right also does not exist in a very special way that we can call negative infinity.